Welcome to Vet Review. In this video, I am going to talk about uterus of cow. Uterus is a thick-walled hollow muscular organ which rests on pelvic floor with the bladder below and the colon and rectum above it. When gravid, so when it has a fetus inside, it extends into the abdomen and it continues cranially with the oviduct and caudally with the vagina. So this is the uterus of the cow. Okay, caudally it is continuous with this vagina, and cranially it is continuing with the small oviduct. Okay, and it rests on the pelvic floor. So this is the uterus, and below it we have the bladder, the urinary bladder, and above it we have the colon and rectum. Okay, and when the cow is pregnant, so the uterus is gravid, it will extend into the abdomen. Okay, then ligaments of uterus. So uterus is held into its position by certain ligaments called the broad ligament and the round ligament. The broad ligament extend from the pelvic wall to the dorsal border of the horns and the lateral margins of the body, while on the broad ligament on either side it gives folds which extends up to the interior inguinal ring, and these folds are called round ligament. Okay, so the main ligament is broad ligament, which will extend from the pelvic walls to the dorsal border of the horns. So this thing is the broad ligament. Okay, and what it is doing, it is attaching this lateral border of the uterus to the pelvic wall. Okay, and this broad ligament itself will give off a fold called the round ligament. Okay, which will then extend up to the interior inguinal ring. So we have two ligaments, broad and round. Then parts of uterus. First is the horns, then body, and then neck. So horns of the uterus are two in number, one on the left, one on the right. They are spiral muscular tube, cranially tapered to join the oviduct and caudally broadened to join the body of the uterus. The dorsal surface is attached to the broad ligament and the ventral surface is free. This is the largest part of the uterus in cow. Horns on either side are joined by interconval ligament. Okay, so in case of cow, the uterus has a ram horn shape. Okay, so this characteristic shape is called the ram horn shape, and this is due to the horns of the uterus. Okay, and what are the horns of the uterus? They are these big structures all the way up to this point. Okay, and how to identify at which part the body will start and at which part the horns will end? You can look for this demarcating line. Okay, and here you can see the interconval ligament. Okay, so cornum uteri are the horns of the uterus. Then body, it is dorso-ventrally flat tube laterally attached to the broad ligament and bifurcates cranially to form the horns from the fundus uteri, and caudally continues with cervix. Then dorsal surface is related to the rectum and ventral surface is related to the urinary bladder. It is the shortest part of the uterus in cow. Okay, this is all about the uterus of cow. So these points are specific to the cow. It is dorso-ventrally flat. Of course, main points being dorsal surface related to the rectum, ventral surface related to the urinary bladder. We have already discussed them. Then it bifurcates cranially to form the horns from the fundus uteri. So what is fundus uteri? Fundus uteri is the location where implantation will occur. So the part of the uterus where implantation will occur, it is called the fundus uteri. Then neck. Neck communicates caudally with the vagina. The intravaginal part projects into the vagina and form the external os through which its canal opens into vagina through internal os as it communicates with the body. So neck is also called the cervix. So cervix uteri. So you can see here, there are the horns. The uterine horn are cornua uteri, body of the uterus is corpus uteri, and neck is the cervix uteri. And there are two openings, so external os and internal os. So this is just one opening and two sides of it. So external os, this is this structure right here, the external side of the opening. Okay, and it has it is also called orificium externum uteri, and it has folds called plicae palmatae. Okay, not too much important. External os is important, and on the inside it has internal os. Okay, so internal os is the internal side of the opening of the uterus into the vagina. Okay, And this raised structure is called fornix vaginae. We'll come to that. See, so internal vaginal part project into the vagina and form the external os through which its canal opens into the vagina. And the extended raised portion is called fornix vaginae. This structure right here. This is fornix vaginae. Then the structure of the uterus, it has 3 layers. First is the serous perimetrium. So from outside to inside, there are 3 layers. Serous perimetrium, which is the outermost layer. It is continuous with the broad ligament. Then second is muscular myometrium. Muscular myometrium has thin external stratum of longitudinal fibers and thin internal layer of circular fibers, and a vascular layer with oblique fibers in between the two. Okay, so we have 3 layers within the myometrium itself. So myometrium has 3 layers. The outermost layer is thin. It has longitudinal fibers. So external thin longitudinal fibers. Then in the middle we have vascular layer. It has oblique folds, and then the internal one is thick and has circular folds or circular fibers. Okay, so this is myometrium. Then mucous endometrium. It has surface epithelium and lamina propria, which contain uterine glands. Uterine glands are also important. They are located on the endometrium. Then the uterus of cow possesses a very special structure called the caruncle. And what are caruncles? They are oval prominences found mostly in the horn and some in the body. They are large at the middle and small at ends of horns, and become enlarged in gravid condition and receive placental cotyledons. Suppose this is the surface of the uterus, and you will see such round raised prominences, and these are called caruncles. And on side view, they are like this. Okay, like this. And what will happen in the placenta of cow? There are structures called cotyledon. Okay, they are like this. So the caruncles and cotyledons, these 2 structures will join together. So this is basically the connection between the pregnant mother and the fetus. So caruncle on the mother side, fetal cotyledon or the placental cotyledon on the fetus side. Okay, they are oval prominences, and they are very small in non-gravid uterus, but when there's a placenta, they will become enlarged and they will be filled with blood vessels. Blood supply. Apical part of horn is provided by the utero-ovarian artery, that is branch of abdominal aorta. Caudal part of horn provided by middle uterine artery, that is the branch of internal iliac artery, while the cervix is provided by the caudal uterine artery, that is the branch of internal iliac artery. So there are 2 blood supplies to the uterus. One is from the abdominal aorta and one is from the internal iliac artery. The nerve supply is provided by the pelvic plexus. So this is it for the uterus of cow. What are the main important points? First, the location, where it is located, the relation with other organs. So bladder is below, colon and rectum are above. Okay, what are the ligaments or attachments of the uterus? What are the 3 parts of the uterus? Horn, body and cervix. The 3 layers: perimetrium, myometrium and endometrium. What are the caruncles? They are very unique to cattle, so very important. Then blood supply. On the basis of blood supply, we have 3 parts which are provided by 2 sources: abdominal aorta and internal iliac artery. And at last, the nerve supply. So this is it for the uterus of cow. If you found this video useful, then please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and if you haven't, then subscribe to my channel. Thank you.